Are live. It is January 24th, 2022. I got Dennis. I got Moose. Good to have you, gents. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. Okay, we don't have Moose. He's gone. But we have Dennis. It's me, the SMT, with Dennis, BP3. What it do, ski main?
Not too much. Tonight, I know you got a lot of great topics on the works. Of course, for anybody that's been following Carlos's channel, you saw that I've been doing some fantastic C-band testing in the Pittsburgh market. And of course, anybody that follows you has known that you've been driving around despite all the crazy snow. Also, doing some insane tests in the most rural parts of Ohio. So I think it'll be fun.
Here's the thing, Dennis. It's easy for me to find, C-band in urban parts. That's like one of the first areas that, Verizon wanted to shore up the capacity boost. So I can go downtown. I can test there. I can test in some of the more urbanized parts of the city, and the county. And there are sites that are alive, that are functioning well. I feel like people on our channel that are underrepresented when it comes to the network upgrades, they need to see these things. I've said it on previous shows. I think the largest beneficiaries of the C-band build will be those in rural America because they haven't had upgraded sites in many years. So they're not only due for upgrades, but since they're due, they'll get the full LTE upgrades. Plus, I think they also get cbrs C-band treatment. So getting stuff like band 48, N48, N77, the full LTE upgrades, they're due for that. You can only neglect these sites for so long, and then at some point, you just got to put on new gear and upgrade these sites. You know what I mean?
Well, ironically enough, and what's good for them is, at least in my testing, C-band has been all over the highways in the suburbs, and there's actually no C-band in downtown Pittsburgh. I went right down to Forbes, which, as you know, is the heart of Pittsburgh, checked out Duquesne University, CMU, UPMC Hospital, and C-band was nowhere to be found in the city of Pittsburgh. But on the outskirts, on I-79, down in Bethel Park at the South Villa Village I told you about, where the Apple Store is, C-band was very densely packed.
Yeah, so I'm, if I'm going to disclose, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I'm finding C-band anywhere. There's no rhyme or reason outside of the fact that wherever they can upgrade and they have the gear, they're going to do it. So if you've got a neglected site that hasn't gotten any love in a long time, if it's sites that carry a lot of traffic, I mean, it could be any number of those things. I have found as much or more C-band in suburban than urban. And I've even found a good, solid build outside of the city limits, like leaving Cuyahoga County, which is the main county area for Cleveland. Once you leave and you get into like rural Medina, Hinckley area, there's C-band sites everywhere. So I'm on 71 South, which takes you towards Columbus. And there's contiguous N77 upgrades. You go from one site to the next, to the next, to the next, and it's C-band the whole way. It's you literally N77 from 4 and 5 sites, and it's like every 2-3 miles. So we're talking about 15 to 20 miles of coverage on the interstate. And we're just talking about going from, like, say, for example, Cuyahoga County limits to like the heart of Medina County. You're getting contiguous coverage on the freeway. I mean, there's hotels off the freeway exits, Dennis. There's dealerships. There's homes, there's hotels, there's apartments. So it's residential, business. There's a lot of cars. When you can kind of tell what time it is with a certain interstate, like off ramp, what type of traffic is going to be going through that area. So there are some pretty major off ramps where there's a ton of traffic, and Verizon engineers, they put in those upgrades and they got capacity on those sites. Absolutely instant upgrades. Zero cool is correct. N77, the 60 megahertz, it's been a lifesaver for a lot of sites.
Yeah, Verizon need this even worse than we already knew. That is for darn sure. It is honestly pretty depressing.
Connected. Oh, damn. Oh, wow.
We got Moose.
I just
Moose
connected.
Is corresponding. Moose is corresponding AT&T C-band.
Hold on.
Let's give him
There
a
we go.
solo layout. Can we do this?
It on the freeway. It just got activated today. By the way, the Pixel, it is working. You're on the Pixel right now.
It's working for C-band?
No, I'm streaming off of the Pixel. It actually worked. So, like you were saying, Sneed, the areas where C-band is needed the most are rural. It's amazing, the spectrum, man.
It's honestly really depressing now to even go to a band 66, band 13 site now with Verizon just because of the stark difference of performance. Like, look at the ping times that Moose is getting right now off of C-band with AT&T.
Are we in the teens?
Yeah, we're 12. It looks
18.
like 12.
18.
Oh.
Yeah, 18.
Well, I've been seeing 14 pings average on C-band.
By the way, Moose, you got my hopes up seeing C-band on the Pixel.
Well, again, it's a Pixel issue. Blame Google.
All I'm going to say is most likely it will be on the Pixel when I'm in a market that supports it.
You're a BC block market, Pete?
No, I'm in an FAA tower market.
Oh, yeah. The FAA is like, nah, dude, not happening.
That's not going up.
Good old Colorado.
Hey, and if NTIA was thinking, they wouldn't even have sold that frequency here. So,
Big shout out to EM Tech. Welcome to the show, man. James says, haven't found any C-band in Metro
yet to
box.
see.
Oh. "16 millisecond jitter." Yeah, so some of these sites just have to be optimized. They're going to need some
16
tuning.
millisecond jitter.
Yeah, I know. Some of the stuff we're seeing is encouraging. I just filmed some short videos, some clips, and I got some full range videos of some testing of some sites that need optimization. They're not great.
So
they have trouble connecting, and then they have trouble staying connected, and then they're not that fast. So it's a thing.
So Sneed,
what up?
I posted a screenshot on one of the Twitter group chats. It's depressing how many few phones support the C-band.
It's going to be all the phones that came out in 2021. All the ones that came out in 2020 need updates.
Yep.
So right now that would be what, Pete, like 7 phones?
Yeah.
You got the Flip 3, the Fold 3. You got the S21 generations.
range.
Right. You got the iPhone 12 and newer. And then
Pixel 6 pending, that's it.
Well, yeah, for now we're talking 10, maybe a dozen phones, maybe.
Yeah, but the most important phone, love it or hate it, the most important phone, which is the iPhones, is working perfect.
Hold up, 2 things. One, thank you to Santiago Hernandez for the $5 super chat. And 2, Kazi, as it stands, the S20 series and the Z Fold 2 series do not support it, nor do any OnePluses. I have a Fold 2 right in front of me, and at the moment, even if my market had it, I would be unable to connect to it.
So we got some AT&T N77 testing for you guys, the C-band. Looks like Moose is getting a decent ping on these sites, 17 milliseconds. We do have a 3 millisecond jitter there, 338 down, 27 up. Moose looks pretty close to the site. It looks like the power might be limited on some of these sites. It's not really showing much there.
Thank you to RFK Tech USA for the $5 super chat. Welcome to the best tech channels, SMT Nation.
Hey, Sneed, I got a quick question for you, brother.
Thanks, Santiago, and thanks, Big Rick. Appreciate it, bro. Go ahead, Dennis.
So you're really good at noticing what cell panels are up where just by looking, and I know you've been to Pittsburgh. I was just wondering if you knew if Pittsburgh was an Ericsson market for Verizon, because people have been asking me and I'm not sure.
Dennis, I will come out to Pittsburgh and we can go testing and I'll tell you exactly what we're working with.
That sounds great. When are you going to make that happen?
After the snow?
It needs to stop snowing, and then I will do it.
Sneed, I'm going to have to find a time to visit you for a few days.
Are you going to come when it's snowing, or are you going
to
wait till the spring?
I'm going to wait till the spring if I don't find a job where they have me fettered to a desk.
Yo, Pete, would you ever relocate out of state, or are you kind of trying to lay in Colorado permanently?
I have my price.
Oh, okay. So
well, I think Next Light Fiber is going to keep him pretty locked down in Colorado.
The fiber.
Yeah, I'd have to move to a place with reasonable fiber. But
okay, Pete, you're not getting Muni fiber in Ohio. I'm just letting you know that right now.
But as I said, I will relocate for reasonable. I do have a price.
Well, I think we all do, right?
I think it's probably going to be, 6 figures, right, Pete?
Well, all the jobs I'm applying for in Colorado are at 6 figures, so.
All right, big shout out to Ricky, RFK Tech. He's got his live stream. I think his is scheduled for Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel and join us for that show.
I might have to crash it.
8:30. We lost Moose. All
right. Some text came in, that's why. But I've been noticing something, Sneedman. This site is loaded compared to the other one that I tested. Because this one actually has more of the freeway traffic. It has residential areas. It has multi-dwelling units. Like, this is a loaded area. Let me see if I can go to the other side.
They got to upgrade those sites, man.
So which Precipice Island is Moose on right now?
Precipice.
He's in the Twilight Zone.
I know.
Apparently, AT&T magically deploys their C-band.
So he's in one of 7 locations. Are you in Detroit?
8.
Detroit has it in spades.
So where are you doing this testing? I see you're locked to Plano, Texas, but
I knew it. The other sector is hitting 480. Yeah, but I don't even know where the hell I am. I'm like in probably some private area or something.
Are you in like Houston area?
477, and the sector that was looking at the freeway, was definitely.
Moose, you know Randall calls the cops if you go near his house, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know from experience, Pete?
No, this is Zero Cool's experience.
We got a poll that's up right now, gents. If you guys want to go ahead and vote, and for everybody that's watching, ladies and gents, the first poll is up. Go ahead and take a look at the question here. Posted 14 minutes ago. We got 60 votes. How meaningful are 5G and network speed awards for T-Mobile? All right, they took home some awards earlier in this report from OpenSignal, who does a lot of their own independent testing. 4G, 5G, uplink speed, downlink speed, gaming experience,
so
4G availability, 5G availability. So they have that whole thing. So what I'm looking for, I got 4 options for you. Do you think those awards for T-Mobile are very important, somewhat important, not really important, and then, of course, the proverbial nobody cares? Because
so, Sneed, what the hell is gaming?
You know, I'm guessing, Pete, it's like, you know, like so they rate it from 0 to 10, 10 being perfect, I guess. I don't know. But they would. Here's what I think it is, and I can't say this is confirmed how they do it. They launch a game, they run a game, and they look for, disconnects, they look for dropped frames, but it has to be a network related issue. So they must have some kind of firmware that's on the devices that will test that,
Every place I do Pokemon Go, I look on the Verizon phone, I look on the T-Mobile phone. They both perform the same. They're better games than the Pokemon Go.
Well, what
Pokemon
I'm
Go
thinking,
is a bad app for testing. Honestly, what they're probably looking at, this is how I would test it, or as what I assume they probably do.
Maybe they're
probably
doing
looking
that
at
Stadia.
well, that could be it, but I was gonna say they're probably just looking at ping, packet loss, jitter, and then available throughput. And then Stadia would be a good example. PUBG Mobile would probably be a better example of an actual game where that matters.
Wait. Isn't PUBG like a battle royale first-person shooter?
Yes, and third person.
How do you play that on a cell phone?
That's a great question, Pete, but I'm just saying that would be a better example of a game where it matters. Or what they could be doing too, Pete, is they could be hotspotting the device and hooking it up to like a Nintendo Switch or something like that.
I've never had issues in Colorado hotspotting my Switch. Heck, there were some locations that worked better than the Verizon. Just made me wish I had unlimited T-Mobile hotspot.
yeah, I'm not sure about the gaming. I'd assume it's not cloud gaming because that brings a whole new kind of wrench into the woodworks. If the cloud server fails, if there's some kind of a connection issue that's associated from that end, they can't say, well, that's the network being the issue, right? That would be the server being the issue. So I don't think it's that, but I do think it'd be like peer-to-peer gaming, games that involve multiple players at the same time on the same stages and stuff like that. But I mean,
just keeping it.
Look, here's the thing. Here's what I looked at the results. They were pretty damn close. There was like 9.8, 9.7, 9.4.
I looked through the results a little before hopping on. It looks like everybody's winning.
Yeah, I don't see.
I haven't looked, but I'm just keeping it 100%. There's not a single wireless network in the U.S. that is actually good for gaming.
I mean, hey, that's their results. I mean, I don't know. I don't game much on my phones, but when I do, they seem fine.
I play like nanograms and Pokemon Go on my phone. So
I mean, the games that are developed for phones are not like games where like the network is like very crucial. Like think like Clash Royale, think like Clash of Clans. Like they're online games, but like by the nature of how you play them, they're not really that dependent on latency.
Kazi, how the hell do you play Call of Duty on a mobile phone?
Need a big ass screen, right?
You get the raw gaming phone and get all the peripheral attachments with your little controller and everything and let it ride.
Why don't you just get a Switch?
All right, you guys are all hung up on the gaming. There was other stuff too. There was uplink speeds, downlink speeds, and there was like 4G availability. I can pull up the report.
So the reason why I'm hung up on the gaming is I think that's the only thing in Colorado Verizon beat T-Mobile with.
T-Mobile took, I think,
all but the gaming.
So Verizon took one individual win. AT&T had a share with T-Mobile, and then T-Mobile had the other 4.
Yep.
I think that's the way it worked out. So they took a lot of the speed stuff. And that's a testament to the build of their ultra capacity. I mean, if this was 2019 or whenever they launched the low band, I mean, this isn't a conversation anybody's willing to have. But with that dedicated mid-band 5G channel, all bets are off. You got tons and tons of speed wherever they build that network.
I found places on SA71 around here, 100 by 15.
Yeah, but Pete, out there, I think you have 15 megahertz on N71 standalone.
Yep.
So, like, that's not the norm for
what I'm getting at is that's better than the FCC's broadband classification.
Yeah, well, that's low hanging fruit, Doug.
What is the broadband? Is it still 25 by 3?
Sure is.
Yep.
We wanted to see it at least go up to 100 by 10.
100 by 25.
Oh, that would be golden.
I was thinking 100 by 50. You guys are lightweights.
We're talking about mobile networks, aren't we?
No, I know. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, well.
And also, if we're talking about mobile networks, I mean, with the carriers now getting access to somewhat large swaths of mid-band, I don't think it's unrealistic to hope for 50 megabits per second upload.
Oh, we're totally going to be seeing in most non-highly rural areas 500 by 100 no problem on all networks by 2024.
Maybe.
No, Pete's right, dude. Not only are we going to have more spectrum, we're going to be aggregating 5G on our bands.
And in the like the deep sticks, we're still going to be seeing 100 by like 25, 30, no problem.
Bro, the signal quality is going to be great. You think about beamforming and a lot of this massive MIMO tech, it's going to improve signal dynamics. Like you're not like edge cells are going to improve, which is going to probably improve speeds by like 25%, maybe 35%.
I mean, I guess the biggest problem with upload is it's not just a matter of spectrum. It's more an issue of density. Like the first thing that falls off.
Yeah, but density's not getting worse, Dennis. It's getting better.
I'm aware.
Even on T-Mobile, which is admittedly lethargic on deploying.
I'm aware that it's getting better, but like there's like 3 compounding issues here. One is that a lot of this mid-band spectrum that's being deployed right now is not being deployed for the uplink; it's being deployed for the downlink. Two, and going back to what I was talking about with density, is that the first thing that gets impacted by like poor SINAR and poor RSRP values is your uplink. It has a lower like tolerance, and no amount of carrier aggregation fixes that. And then 3 is that
well, it's MIMO, and we will eventually have phones doing multiple upload streams.
Right, but the third thing that I was going to point out was that like with the spectrum that is being like put out for availability, you're forgetting that it still has to be split between LTE and 5G. Like the best band, like the best frequencies for uplink are the low band frequencies, but that's a hot mess. So mid band becomes the next best thing.
I turned on LTE on my T-Mobile line sitting in a restaurant today. They're sitting at 40 megahertz of band 41. Could get by with 20 for that, and put the other 20 on 5G.
I mean, you're right, but like, but what I'm getting at is like, it's. If we really wanted to see consistent uploads, like in the hundreds, 200s, like basically someone like Verizon would essentially have to allocate like 60 megahertz of C-band, like just to uplink.
Or if you're aggregating N77 and 5, when you're in that aggregate state, just have 5 do your uplink.
Yeah, but N5 only has what, 10 megahertz worth, Pete?
On a good location.
So like, you see where I'm getting? You see where I'm going with this here? Like,
yeah, but you're naming everything that's been wrong with the connections that are going to change with the next generation of hardware and vendor software. So
with network slicing, we will find ourselves potentially getting locked in upload guarantees for certain applications.
I guess what I'm going for here is like, and I said this in the spaces, but people think like the next generation of modems with the X65 is going to be like this magic pill that like fixes all of our upload woes. And I guess what I'm trying to highlight here is that like the problem is bigger. It's even down to the fact that the engineers at the top are still thinking in old ways. Like,
hold up real quick. Sorry to interrupt. Sneed, could you click up Caleb's most recent comment?
Absolutely.
And sorry for the interruption.
No, you're good. Just my point is that the issue is larger. Like, aside from all the other limitations I just talked about, it's also an issue with like how we perceive wireless networks. Like, if we look at how 5G has been being deployed, it's still following the old school mentality that like people consume more than they create across the board. Like, it's still following that old mentality.
And hopefully by the time our networks get to release 17 of 3GPP, we'll find ourselves moving out of that zeitgeist.
I don't know. I know how corporations are, man, and it takes a lot to change. It takes a lot to change that.
Not really. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think they see one weakness in their fixed wireless access aspirations, and it's their uplink, Dennis. The downlink to compete with cable is done. They can do that. Millimeter wave, C-band, N41, the whole shebang.
Hell,
They
in
can
some
all
markets,
compete in downlink. The problem is always going to be uplink.
Sneed, in some markets, N71 competes with the local ISP.
I know, but come on, bro. That's like so bad. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
that's
DSL.
like
Greg's hometown.
Right. So, like,
okay, Sneed, I was going to mention that too, that realistically, they're already competing against cable. You only have to meet 40 Mbps on the top level.
Currently, right now, today, Dennis is right. They don't. But next generation hardware, yes, they do. Aggregating uplink allows them to truly compete, and in some cases, really just kick coaxial's ass, because coax is 40 megabits usually for the best plan.
And when, however, when DOCSIS 4.0 comes out,
okay, then it's fiber-like, right, Pete?
Well, we're gonna have the limitation of how much is Comcast or Spectrum going to invest in their modems, and how much will it cost the customers to get the modems with the good uploads?
Well, Comcast is already rolling out new gateways right now with Wi-Fi 6E, and Comcast
6E works great with intra-network.
Well, let me, before you shoot me on this, let me just explain. Comcast is already rolling out gateways with Wi-Fi 6E, and 6E is not even like a widely adopted tech. And when 6 came out, Comcast was pretty up on the beat for upgrading their provided equipment. And by that, what I'm going for here is that when DOCSIS 4.0 becomes a standard, I guarantee you Comcast has a new gateway to go along with it. Like, they're not just going to be like, DOCSIS 4.0 and no gateways, right? So, like,
but they may still be limiting the uplink based on pay for play.
Oh, I mean, the rental itself, I don't see them changing anything. Like, they make money hand over fist on that rental.
Yeah, it can be anywhere based on your market from $7 to $16.
It's usually somewhere around 14. I haven't seen any markets where it's 7.
All right, gents.
Colorado.
All right, gents. Let's take a look at the poll. How meaningful are the 5G and network speed awards for T-Mobile? Number 1 was 36%, very important. Then, in second place, nobody cares. So let's kind of take a look at that. So, very important. I think what those people are saying is that it's meaningful for T-Mobile to take these wins and then leverage them as they try to change the perception of the general public about their network performance. That has always been like kind of like the cloud that has followed T-Mobile. You're getting a lesser network, compared to, say, like Verizon or AT&T. So they take these wins with OpenSignal, Ookla, and then they use them as marketing, and they use them as tools to help them positively change the perceptions on their network. I think that's kind of what these people are saying.
Sneed, real quick. For the love of whoever, stop typing FUK in chat.
Okay. I just want to add a comment real quick before you go on to the next part. As far as the results about partially being important, I definitely think it's important for that T-Mobile definitely won some awards. But I also don't think that the fastest speed thing necessarily changes people's overall perception of the T-Mobile network, because T-Mobile has won that award before back in the LTE era.
Right, but that appears to be their approach. T-Mobile is attacking the perception that they have. Whether it's deserved or it's undeserved makes no difference. T-Mobile is clearly cognizant of the public perception about their network, so they are attacking it.
Hey, when I started using them, they were great in certain metro areas and had 0 rural coverage.
Same, Pete. I told you, I've been with them since 2013.
Yep. So looking at looking how it changed, the stigma of, you only get it in urban cores, and even them poorly, getting something like this will start to change the perception. But there is still, I want to say 15 out of the last 20 years. They haven't been awesome.
I mean, Pete, it's clear every network can improve. Every network can get better.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I have to.
Sadly, T-Mobile had the most to improve in 4G.
Yeah, they never had the bullets. You know what I mean? I've always looked at T-Mobile as like, the punching underdog. And under the John Ledger era, they made huge gains organically. They grew from like 11% market share to 17%. And I thought that was impressive because they didn't have a network.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, wow, this guy came in. He had a plan. He said, I'm just gonna do whatever the big carriers do. I'm gonna do the opposite. And he took some share. And then Sprint went up for grabs because Masa is a moron. And they're like, yeah, well, we're the A side in this deal apparently. And then they've been running with it ever since. I mean, they've hit it out of the park in those respects, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to set up the next poll if you guys want to kind of comment on the rest of the poll.
Well, while you're setting that up, I want to circle back to something we were touching over, and it goes back to fixed wireless, specifically with what you were saying about them competing with cable. I think that there are three main things that need to be touched on if you want fixed wireless to be able to compete with traditional cable offerings, even without bringing DOCSIS 4.0 into the equation. First and foremost, fixed wireless needs to be able to offer some minimum threshold of guaranteed speed. Like, they have to. Like, I would say 50 meg being conservative to 100 megabits per second guaranteed for a house as some minimum threshold benchmark.
That's 100.
If that doesn't happen, then fixed wireless does not compete with cable, because anything less than that for household demands is going to be rough, first and foremost. Secondarily, and this is going to be a much more difficult problem to solve, is they have to fix their port forwarding, NAT type peering routing issues that they have on the fixed wireless side. Like, all those things are really important because there's a lot of applications still to this day that don't work, and they're no longer just applications that like a business does. Like,
we need DDWRT on that crap.
But like that has to be resolved. Like if you want to be an actual home internet use case, people have to actually be able to use their internet for everything, including work from home, and you can't necessarily do that to any meaningful extent on fixed wireless, or at least not well. And then third, and this is also going to be a challenge that needs to be fixed, but you gotta fix latency, specifically the jitter and the packet loss. You cannot have packet loss on a home internet issue. Like, you just can't. And these are three core things that have to be fixed. And until those three things happen, you're not competing against any traditional option, with the exception of maybe DSL. And then I'm going to add one more fourth caveat to this as well. But the pricing also needs to be addressed with fixed wireless. I'm talking about just like internet cost by itself, disregarding bundle deals, because then that's when things get complicated. But if we look at the actual price of the fixed wireless products, they are at best similarly priced to traditional options, and more typically at worst, they're actually worse priced. I know Comcast has cheaper tiers in some places, like a $20 option for like 50 meg, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go right with the $30 option, which is 200 meg. 200 meg by 10 for $30 versus what T-Mobile is charging at $50. I can't see them winning any customers over, because it's not like their customer service or anything else is that revolutionary.
I think Santiago needs more density in his market. says with his T-Mobile home internet, he gets about 130 down. But
that's Medardo.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they have the same color in my YouTube thing, so I get confused. But
yeah. But those are core issues that have to be addressed because home internet use is different from mobile use.
If I remember on the FAQ for T-Mobile home internet was either like gaming or video streaming they don't recommend it for.
Which is hilarious considering that those are the two biggest things that most residential consumers do in their leisure.
Hey. You mean I'm weird? My leisure, I take a nap.
So the problem is this, gents. The T-Mobile mobile network, right, which is what it is. Their network is a mobile network. You know, maybe on a true standalone core, maybe with the next generation hardware on the tower sites, then maybe a lot of these concerns get addressed. You know, you get yourself a standalone core, you get yourself some network slicing, you get yourself some real QoS on the network level, and then I think those things become a possibility.
Sneed, it's a bigger problem than that, though, because it's not, I mean, the network, yes, is a big portion of that, but it's not just about the wireless carrier's network. It's about the other things that you're connecting to, like the internet. I'm going to use a really good example, okay? Let's look at the packet size. A packet on 5G has a different packet size than a traditional packet that is sent over a traditional internet option, and that can cause problems.
Yep, there is 18% extra overhead for routing.
So, like, it's bigger than that. Like, you have to actually get, like, companies, basically, to also implement the necessary software or tech or whatever to send the packets of data in a way that is meant for that.
Okay, so why has T-Mobile been technically beta for the last year and a half? Because they don't have any of this addressed.
Nope.
You know, so then that's where I'm at 1 year from now, 2 years from now. By 2025, Dennis, we'd look back and listen back at this podcast and be like, yeah, we considered these things and they addressed them.
You know, but by that point, okay, if we're talking 5 years down the line.
No, I'm not saying it's not going to happen for 5 years. I'm saying if we had this conversation in 5 years after playing this back, we would be talking about how our concerns were this, and then they later on addressed it. I don't know if it's 2023. I don't know if it's this year. I have no idea. I'm just saying that there are big bucks going into fixed wireless access, and for you to think that they won't be addressed within the next year or two, I just think you're overlooking it. Like, think about it, Dennis. They're investing a lot of effort, marketing. There's huge money going into fixed wireless access to replace cable, to replace DSL, to replace satellite. You can't take market share unless your product is as good or better. So if they don't have those problems addressed, then what are they? They're wasting their time.
So the best way I can give you this analogy is like this. I'm not saying the problems won't be addressed, but similarly to how you had the energy of why does cable keep investing in cable and not just go to fiber, I look at what fixed wireless is doing kind of like that. Like what they're doing with fixed wireless would be akin to someone really emphasizing how to improve a pedal bike when there's already a car. Like there's just limitations to the tech that I can't foresee them being able to overcome some of the obstacles, with the only exception being to what I say being millimeter wave. That is the only exception. And realistically speaking, the way millimeter wave gets deployed, it's going into places where there's already robust internet options, typically a really strong cable provider, and oftentimes a fiber provider to boot. And I can't see that actually being able to be competing over those products unless it's on price, which as it stands today, even from a price standpoint, it's more expensive. Like by the time these issues are addressed, I think it's very safe to assume that even if DOCSIS 4.0 isn't widely deployed, it's very safe to assume that cable will at the very least have higher uploads, maybe in the 200 megabit per second territory, because that could be done with existing infrastructure.
I clearly have more faith in fixed wireless than you do, Dennis. I'm more optimistic. I I just see terrible companies in cable.
Oh yeah.
So to me, like you're looking at the technology and the availability. I'm looking at the terrible nature of the companies that own that infrastructure.
So Sneed, I have a good example on how bad cable is. Here in Longmont, we got that good internet. So Comcast actually gives reasonable rates. You go 2 miles south of town, their prices are 55% higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Horrible.
but so there's two things I want to say on that front. One, as it's already been established, I am not for private companies running the internet. Just throwing this out here. But one, all private companies operate in that way. Like Verizon, insert telecom company, doesn't have to be cable. Every company operates that way. Look at Verizon, for example. In the markets where DSL is the only option, they charge $100 for a 1.5 megabit per second connection. If you have any company, if you have any company where they're the only option, that happens. You're not wrong. Competition's great, but it has to be meaningful competition as well. And two, I know that cable has bad reputations. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but those are also things that are somewhat easy to change, and in fact have been changing depending on the cable operator talked about. Like I was looking at a thing on JD Power because I was watching a Whistle Out video with Sherry. She was doing her Xfinity Internet review because I watch her content. And I think Comcast ranked third in the telecom space from a JD Power standpoint. I didn't even see T-Mobile on the list of fixed wireless provider or internet providers.
Yeah, because they don't qualify. They don't even have 700,000 connections.
Nope. By the way, real quick, as Sneed pulled up, shout out to Kamikaze Kid. Says I have T-Mobile home internet and have no connection issues. Congratulations. And indeed, it is hard to beat the $50 a month for that.
Appreciate it, Kamikaze Kid. Thanks for the super chat, and always appreciate your generosity. Thank you.
Also, I want to just go one extra step real quick. So as you all know, I was out West Coast, and in Vegas specifically, I was relying on my hotspot with the highest priority on Los Red, okay? And Verizon has a tremendous network. I'm talking like best case scenario for Verizon testing in Vegas, essentially. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would not want to rely on my hotspot or any wireless solution if I had a viable alternative. I would take cable. I would take fiber. I would even take a VDSL connection. And by VDSL, I'm talking basically fiber to the node and then DSL line to the house. So I'm at least getting like 100 by 10. I would take all of those over the option of relying on the hotspot. And I used the hotspot. I'm not saying it was bad. Like I literally used like over 300 gigs in Vegas. Like it was tremendous for what I needed it to do.
I did that with a Verizon myself, but in the hotel, T-Mobile was better.
Or T-Mobile too. I mean, I used T-Mobile's hotspot as well. But the point being, like for like an on the go, like using my Mac to do some emails and stuff, it was all right. Like it was fine. Like it got me by. Like I got my school assignments done. But to actually see myself using that as a real home internet replacement, and I know I'm a one-off scenario with my needs, but to actually even see my parents use that as a home internet replacement, I couldn't even see.
Yeah, but Dennis, the mobile hotspot and tethering on your handheld is like QCI 9, dog.
Yeah, it's not Los Blue levels.
Yeah, but that's the same as what T-Mobile's deprioritized internet is for their home internet product, and I believe that's the same thing for Verizon.
I'm not even counting present day T-Mobile home internet as the end all be all for fixed wireless.
It's still beta, and that's
they have terrible hardware. It's a MediaTek processor. The thing overheats. They haven't even fixed that problem yet. They're still upgrading their network. Their channel depth varies from place to place. There's a lot of variables that's making the T-Mobile home internet beta. You know,
yeah,
so
I mean, I guess my standpoint is this. I got to go to Stetson's house, as you know, and Stetson literally has line of sight to his site. It was best case scenario for T-Mobile's internet.
Oh,
I tested it. And all my problems that I have with fixed wireless and all the problems that have existed with fixed wireless since the dawn of time all still remain. And I just don't, based off my knowledge and based off of my anecdotal experiences and based off what I know, I just don't see how you overcome some of the challenges to make it as good or better, as you put it, as something like coaxial cable and what it can do, or and especially not fiber.
I can't wait till we get 200 megahertz of N77 on air, and we start seeing that aggregated with band 48 and whatever other spectrum. I can't wait, because I have a feeling you're going to be backing up the truck on this one, Dennis.
Well,
when we really start to see quality and deep channels, you're going to see that it's going to perform better. And like I said, I think 2023 is a fair time frame, because Verizon has good gear coming. T-Mobile could get new gear. We don't know. Channels will get wider. Technologies will improve, and we'll have a 5G network core.
Well, Steve, you know I will back up as I did with mmWave, but if I was a betting man, I would bet you that scallops that you always like to talk about with Zero Cool, that traditional options will continue to remain better than fixed wireless.
Also, another thing to consider, and I believe Zero Cool would back me up on this one, they're still in the process of defining the SDN for fixed wireless, and it takes a lot of data, it takes a lot of optimization, and in some cases takes specialized hardware to run the SDNs.
Look, I already won on mmWave. You understand now what I saw then, so you admitted to that, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so I feel just as strongly about 200 plus megahertz of midband. I feel just as strongly about that being able to provide a quality networking experience for a home internet user. It's not going to be as good as mmWave, but it's still going to be better than Cox garbage can residue. That's not hard to beat.
I will agree with you that it might be able to provide, it can provide a quote unquote quality experience for residential use. I hard disagree with you that it will be better than any cable company that's worth their salt that actually invests in their infrastructure.
No, the only thing that's going to beat good cable is going to be the mmWave connection or fiber.
Oh, yeah.
But when I look at mmWave, to me, mmWave is wireless fiber. So to me, it's fiber and fiber.
So shout out to Austin Turner, who is generous with the $5 donation, saying he was streaming Halo Infinite on the Verizon LTE home internet. Now, is this like the Xbox on cloud or whatever, or is this playing with it on the Xbox and doing an online match? He canceled his 400 cable plan. $25 is too good a deal.
So that's actually something that I wanted to touch on. I just saw Reddit, and there was a guy on Reddit that was like, I'm going to cancel my fiber to get $25 a month Verizon.
That's
and I was like, that's what'd you say, Sneed?
What's he paying?
He was only paying 45, 50, 50 at most.
No way.
See, that's why I was telling you, Sneed, from the beginning. These people are going to look at price, and they're not going to look at the quality of the connection.
They're going to compromise. Bro. They're going to compromise over $20.
$20, man.
It's $240 a year, dog.
I mean,
not that much money.
You're not wrong that people will compromise, but here's the thing that we're failing to acknowledge here.
Yeah.
If we're talking about bundled discounts, okay, who historically has been the king of the bundle price? Let's hear it.
AT&T?
Cable, just cable in general. Comcast does their Xfinity Mobile discounts. If it becomes a price where Comcast, in fact, Comcast is so egregious with it, they've literally priced out competitors. Comcast can take deep price cuts if they want to. Like, You guys don't realize, but Comcast is like cost of operation to provide like home internet to like a household, a residential household after the stuff's been put in. It's literally like pennies on the dollar. Like their profit margins are like 95%. There's a reason why they can still make money off of internet essentials at $10. And there's a reason why they can charge like $30 and still make very healthy cash flow.
Something great about the Longmont internet. Their essentials plan, which is 40 by 40, costs, get this, showing your food stamps card.
All right,
you
gents,
mean free?
We're gonna close out this. We're gonna close out this this poll here. Has Verizon N77 C Band, excuse me, C Band network improved since launch last week? Your three options: yes, it is noticeably better. Not much has changed since launch. No available N77 5G Ultra Wideband for me yet. Go ahead and cast your votes. We've got 72 votes currently. Go ahead and cast yours. We're going to close this out here in a couple of minutes. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say on this.
And do indeed definitely vote on this. It's good for conversation. Unlike Dennis, 90-something% of my workload, I have no problem doing over a wireless hotspot at like 5 megs a second.
So, Pete, I have to ask, and Dennis, you can chime in, of course, Moose too. Are there 50 million fixed wireless access customers out there? Meaning, are there 50 million people currently using satellite internet, DSL, or crappy cable? Are there 50 million customers out there in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Is it worth it for Verizon and T-Mobile to duke it out for them?
Hey, if they're duking it out, everybody wins, regardless of what they're deploying. And thank you to Kamikaze Kid, another $5. He's wondering if the Verizon Home Internet for $25 is a locked price, or can it vary over time?
Okay, so there is a stipulation in the pricing. It's $25 if you are a wireless customer. So they cut your home internet cost in half. One of the plans, which is just the regular one, it's price locked for 2 years. And then I think what happens is it goes back up to 50 or 40 or whatever. There's like a plus plan that locks you in for 3 years. But based on the language and the way that they put it in there, I'm getting the impression that that $25 promo is for that 2 or 3 years. And then they're going to push it back up to 40 or 50, whatever the original non-promotional price is. Could be 60. I don't know. They could change it, I guess. All I know is that the cost of creating the capacity decreases with time. You know, the networks get more and more efficient. Even though they spend a crap ton of money on spectrum and towers, it creates so much excess capacity, you can monetize it. The return you can get. Oh, you got it, Kamikaze Kid. Absolutely. You're welcome, man.
And I mean, it's not like the average internet user home internet user consumes with the same patterns as the average mobile user. There are openings within the FDD and TDD where you can indeed monetize even at $25 that Slack spectrum. And that's actually where it goes in at its priority rate.
All right, Pete, we're going to go ahead and close out the poll, and we're going to see how this turned out. Dennis and Moose, I will look to you for your input on this. And when asking the question about Verizon's N77, you know, how has it been since launch? Has it improved since launch? 43% said no, not available. N77 in my market. 43%. 28% said yes, it is noticeably better since launch. 27% said not much has changed since launch. All right, so any thoughts or impressions on that, Dennis?
I think that since launch it's improved dramatically, especially compared to the low power that we had started at. and that I think that with continued time, it's going to continue to get better. I mean, literally just the day of launch, right? I went out to go test down in Bethel Park, and I went from a site that was band 13, band 66 only to now being able to connect to an upgraded site with a very weak C band at my house when I came back. So they're actively upgrading, and I think things look good on the up and up for N77. Did I miss the question, or was that the answer?
No, you're good. You kind of share your experience.
Yeah.
Pete, I don't know if you want to chime in, dog.
From the looks of it, people are enjoying looking around and finding it, so people can have their fun. I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah, it's I think the point of midband is to be at or at least near ubiquity. It should be commonplace. It should be something that connects relatively easily and stays connected and is reliable, dependable, indoor, outdoor. This is a conversation I've had with Zero Cool. We've
you
talked
said
about
it
this
before.
You want to get it on your couch.
I mean, you said it before, but mid-band's the new low band.
It is.
I mean, we can get some, certain premium entertainment things and 4K on our couch, and we'd be happy, as long as nobody's looking over our shoulder judging us. Like the new Voltron anime.
Who?
Voltron from the 80s.
Voltron's got a new show?
Yeah. It's on Netflix. That's up in their prices next month.
Pete, what else is new in the streaming land, dude?
Samsung TVs and Google Chromecast or Google TV with Android can get Apple TV Plus. That's pretty nice.
You know what? This is 100% fact, man. When I first found out about this, I was devastated. No C-band in PR, Alaska, or Hawaii.
Well, there are actually reasons for that.
I think the Alaska one has to do with government function and use.
Yep.
I would assume it's also the same for Alaska.
Well, Hawaii is also a giant naval and air force base.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came up to mind was armed forces, military.
Puerto Rico, they're using it for the main airport in San Juan, regional airport, and there's also scientific use. Now, keep in mind, this was originally NTIA spectrum, so giving out scientific
How far
use
back,
for
Pete?
hurricane warning, 74.
1970s.
So having this allotted for a hurricane early detection system is actually a good thing to our Puerto Rican friends.
Yeah, I think that's a good trade-off. Give up the cellular. I mean,
also,
I hear T-Mobile's build is pretty good there. So,
Lando on the Discord, Puerto Rican friend that I have to hit up sometime, telling me that even in the middle of nowhere at his grandmother's house, he's getting the N41 there. It's good.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear it's really good.
Also, Verizon and AT&T largely divested from the island.
Yeah, so T-Mobile's your answer in PR.
Dude, first time in PR landing there, first time on an LTE connection on my Pixel 3, I hit over 100 megs a second.
Not surprised, man. The build's good.
It's a good build.
Yeah.
So they're not really hurting for mid-band. Granted, they have more people than, say, Wyoming and Vermont, but they're not hurting for mid-band.
So how about this next poll, Pete? Let's move on because we're looking to close out the show after about an hour, and we're kind of pushing it. We got a new poll. It is up. And I asked the question, is AT&T the home internet leader in the U.S.?
No.
Yes, they have a lot of DSL-only markets. It's horrible. Wait,
define home internet leader, please.
Yeah, define leader.
I mean, to define. I mean, okay, so
So
it becomes coverage, footprint, offers, fiber, quality of service, pricing, competitiveness. I think it's a total package. Are they
that's
the industry leader?
They have a hell of a lot of DSL charging a hell of a lot for not many, and there's no competition. They're a freaking monopoly.
Well, Pete, they charge $55 for DSL, dog.
It depends on the market.
Yep, you could pay as high as 80 for 25 meg.
One market, this guy got so pissed off at his $120 DSL bill. He said he bought a billboard complaining about it. Yeah, it's so yeah, they're the leader because they have the largest footprint, and a lot of that is bad connections.
Yeah, it's not great, but their fiber is great.
Yeah, their fiber is great, of course. But honestly, if we're talking about the leader in the home internet space, and again, I know you hate when I say this, but it's probably going to be your stereotypical cable giant, either Spectrum or Comcast. They have a very large footprint. The speeds are consistent, and it's better than DSL. And from a pricing standpoint, it is definitely not worse than what AT&T is doing. In fact, arguably, it's sometimes cheaper.
I gotta tell you guys what AT&T's done for me, dog. I have to disclose this. Okay, so I have 1 gig by 1 gig symmetrical, right? The service has been up the entire time since installation. Okay, so the quality of service is up
better
the
than Fios.
Dude, this is great. I like the hardware that comes with it is perfectly fine. You know, hashtag gift from Moose, the Lambo, you know, with the ROG, Asus, you know, the Rapture GT AXE 11000. That's been a tremendous router. It's enhanced the signal. It's allowed me to kind of, I don't know, slice up and dice up the network a little bit. So it's been cool. But Pete,
they gave my alien.
Pete, they like AT&T. I have like $1,000 in credits, dog. Like, I'm not going to have a bill for a long time. They gave me credits for every little bit of trouble associated with my setup. The delay.
Had trouble with your setup?
Well, the installation, the delay, and then the technician, and then something happened at the terminal in the front of the neighborhood.
Man, they should be paying me to set that up.
Dude, they credited me every step of the way, and I got $250 to switch, right? Quote unquote switch. And I signed up online.
Your AT&T hotspot?
Yeah, exactly. And then another $150 for signing up online. It all came out to $1,000. I'm not gonna have a bill for like a year.
So
I'm not talking about a year like from when I first installed. I'm like talking a year from like tomorrow. I won't have a bill.
With my fiber, I didn't have any of those issues. The technician came out.
Pete, I was the first install in the entire segment of the city.
It's good. Great.
Of course there was going to be problems.
Yeah. So here the technicians come out. They ask you, where do you want the hole? They run it. It works the first time. Actually, they're not allowed to leave the house until you're up and running. And this guy even spackled in the old cable hole. Great for a free install, I must say.
Sure.
Hey, Sneed, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say this. AT&T might not be the what's actually the poll? Let me read it again. Hold on. Let me read it again really quick.
Is AT&T the home internet leader in the U.S.?
Yeah, is AT&T the home internet leader in the U.S.? Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Okay, they're not the leader right now, but goddamn, the empire is coming, dog. Oh my god, I'm telling you right now, man.
Yo,
it's
DJ,
gonna be everywhere. It's going to be in Las Vegas. I mean, Carlos even sent me a screenshot that it's already in Las Vegas for business customers. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
So it's coming. It's coming in hot. It's going to be amazing. 10 gig, it's coming. It was already, it was already announced in the press release this morning that they're trialing it. It's going to be available soon. Sneed got the leg up on this a couple weeks ago.
Cha. We need a second poll from John. He says we need a new poll. Is Spectrum the worst business name for an ISP provider? Yes or hell yes?
B.
I hate Spectrum because you know why, guys? When they're in a market,
Spectrum.
No, the Charter Spectrum, man. They, if you're not in a market where you have a competitor, they literally give you $135 for the gig service. $135. Unbelievable, man. Expensive. But today was great news. 2 gig, 5 gig.
Yo, Moose. Should the SMT corridor go multi-gig?
We gotta upgrade you.
I don't think you benefit it.
Look, I forgot to tell you guys this. Over the weekend, I pulled the trigger on something because I was able to get a hold of a 3060 Ti as an intro graphics card. I'm still waiting on the 3080 Ti. But I got a motherboard that supports 10 gig on the motherboard. The Ethernet supports 10 gig. So I've already been seeing on Reddit a 2 gig speed tests, and they're very promising. They're like 2500 by 2400 on the upload. It's amazing. They're really good speed tests. So once, go ahead.
With these multi-gig plans, there is one thing to consider. 99% of the servers you connect to for upload don't even take 500 megs a second. And there is the multi-$1,000 upfront hardware cost to even start being able to take advantage of it. So unless
Wait a minute, hold up. What do you mean by you're going to need a hardware cost? What do you mean by that?
You're going to need you can't use like a standard router for a 10 gig connection. The standard router.
You're talking about a wireless router or you're talking about a LAN router?
LAN router.
Oh, yeah, LAN router, yes. So the LAN routers are very expensive. I checked it out at Micro Center this weekend. 5 ports, fucking $500, so $100 a port. It's unbelievable.
But here's the question with that. Are all 5 ports 10 gigs?
Yes.
Or do you have a 10 gig LAN and 5 gig LAN?
No, it's not 5 times. No. It's 10 gigs each one, but it's extremely expensive. And then if you wanted more ports, it's like almost $1,000 just for. So
then you need $1,000 switch.
Yeah.
$2,000 switch. And
like I was saying to Steve,
$300 motherboard.
The costs. Oh, my motherboard was way more than $300 because of the pandemic. The pandemic inflation.
How much was that motherboard?
The motherboard with the promotion was $449.
Okay, so $449 motherboard.
Yeah.
You can get 10 gig cards for $300 that you plug into a PCI Express slot that would take a graphics card.
Oh no, of course. I definitely know that I went way overkill on the build, but it's gonna last 5 years guaranteed, easily 10 if I really push it. But what I was saying to Sneed is this, Pete, though, is that over time, especially once the Ethereum in June, all the graphics cards that Ethereum is mining, they're going to become completely obsolete because Ethereum is not going to be able to be mined by using GPUs starting in June. So the price of components are going to start coming down slowly. But over this 2022, more routers are going to have a 10 gig port that are, we already have the announcement from ASUS ROG that there's going to be 2
routers that are going to have a 10 gig WAN port. So that's
what
good.
about the LAN ports?
The LAN ports, they have a couple of options, right? They have the 2.5 gig, they have a 5 gig, and then they have obviously the regular 1 gig. But the Wi-Fi, you know,
6E.
your air interface. Yeah, exactly. Wi-Fi 6E, your air interface is going to have a lot of options as well, right? So what I was saying to Sneed from the beginning.
You could get anywhere from, 54 megabits per second up to I think the Wi-Fi 7, the theoretical cap was around 6-7 gigs a second.
Yeah, like what I've been thinking from the longest time is that over this year and next year, as more people start realizing that they need to upgrade, and when I say need, they don't need to upgrade. They're going to want to upgrade just for the EPing, like the showing off factor. But there are some use cases, like I have a couple neighbors of mine that already upgraded to the 5 gig today. And I was like, why do you need that? They're like, I'm already seeing congestion on the 1 gig. I'm like, wow, that was insane. I asked him, I'm like, what the hell are you doing to do it?
Where I am, the cost of upgrading all my lines to T-Mobile Max, Magenta MAX, would be the same price of upgrading to a 10 gig connection. At the moment, I still see the Max as a better investment.
The which one was a better investment?
Upgrading my 11 lines to Max as opposed to getting a 10 gig a month connection.
Oh yeah.
Right, man.
Especially with especially with speeds with Sneed.
The only issue that I have is that there's still some limitations by taking full advantage of this speed. So, like as an example, the any Xbox or PS5 will not be able to take advantage of the speeds. However, your PC, if you have the right, Ethernet port, will be able to take advantage of it.
But what server will be accepting it?
I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really
commonly do a full gig, Pete.
Which servers? I mean, every server I set up, even with 25 gig backhaul connected directly to the backbone, best practices was capping at 250 megs a second. And
that's typical.
Yep. To go to...
What do you think the YouTube servers are when we're uploading videos?
They're somewhere between 250 and 400.
So they're even on the upper end of your thresholds.
Yeah, they have distributed 25 gig connections in their data centers. This is just 2 lines going in for redundancy. Right. So the idea is if I'm having 40 people come in, got to cap it at 200 so nobody gets congestion.
Hey, Pete, Christopher says, holy cow, 11 lines. I got 9 lines on my family lines. Pete's got a business.
This is a business. And our friend the SMT takes advantage of one of them.
How long have I been testing on that line, Pete? 2 years? 3 years?
3.
3 years.
By the way, the wife still loves the fact that I saved $18 by switching her on.
What did she have before, AT&T?
She dropped AT&T after moving to Longmont.
Yeah,
because Longmont went to her daughter's T-Mobile account, and her daughter had 1 gig of mobile data cap. She went on my line. She started getting 10 and then infinite. So
1 gig, man. What a bucket.
And I'm like, geez, 5 years ago, I upgraded my cheapo 1 gig plan to 2 gigs on all lines for free.
Man, it's crazy to look back at the plans we had, dude.
Nuts. Hey, I was paying less than $150 a month at that point. So
I remember 5 lines sharing 25 gigs of data, dog. You know.
Hey, I was just happy I got that music streaming for free with that line.
Yep, I remember that. I remember what
And
happened.
80% of my driving mobile data was music.
All right, poll is closed. Is AT&T the home internet leader in the U.S.?
We got a split.
Holy cow. No 50%. Yes 49%. We had 87 votes. I don't know what happened in that one vote. They must have left. So they they took him out. Wow, that was pretty close. So here's why I asked this question, Pete. They're like one of the few home internet providers that actually does national pricing. Right? Like most of them assess based on the market. Oh, we have 3 competitors in this market. We actually have to like compete. Or
hey, that's
oh,
what
hey,
Comcast does here.
Or it's oh, hey, it's AT&T DSL or Comcast here. Oh, we're Comcast. We're going to charge $90 because we're the only one that'll give you 200 megabits.
What do you mean 200? Some places they do the only one with 50.
No, they'll do like 200 by 10, and then like AT&T's got DSL like 800 kbps.
Some places in Colorado, you get 50 on Comcast, but you go one house over your house service range, then you're stuck with the DSL.
Right. So, in my opinion, Fiber National, I mean, they're the best. Cox is trash. They're not really national. I think really who would be considered the national home ISPs? Comcast, Charter, AT&T. Like who else qualifies?
Well, you're specifying it wrong. You have Cable Cartel, Verizon, and AT&T.
I mean, but Verizon's as regional as it gets.
Yeah, but so is Spectrum. It's a cartel.
But they have more regions than Verizon Fios.
Well, Verizon also has DSL.
Yeah, they do.
And AT&T has DSL. So we're
Is
doing
Verizon's
apples
DSL
to
better
apples.
than AT&T's DSL?
No.
It depends on where it's raining.
Verizon, no. I'll say it right now, no, because AT&T at least has some locations where they offer like 25 to 50 megabits per second. There's like none of that for Verizon's DSL service.
By the way, the DSL is cartelized too.
The last I checked, Bird, there are probably people in this live chat right now that have AT&T DSL. So no, it is not.
There were 3 people who had that as an option here.
It has been hold up. So it is being shut down, and AT&T, to the best of my knowledge, isn't accepting new customers or anything like that for it. But if you're an existing,
yeah, but the people that have it are still using it.
Yeah.
What do you think the FCC could do if they shut it off completely? AT&T is like, we're out of here. We don't want your money. We're done.
I mean, nothing.
Well, if Build Back Better passed, they'd be saying, "Hey, build out some fiber, dumbasses." What is it like? Over $1 billion over the next 10 years in there for deploying fiber internet.
Hey,
It's a lot of money.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Do you know the hashtags that we do at the end of the show? You want to run those?
Let's see. We got Mod Squad for those wrenches keeping it down. No, I think I was the only one who wrenched. Hashtag Ravioli Gang if you've been snacking or wanted to snack during this. Let's see. We got 2 Live Crew.
Oh, snap.
If you're a real one and you watch this all the way through or most of the way through, we're not going to judge. We got Replay Crew.
Oh, snap.
For those who are watching this on the replay, God bless you.
Can we get a hashtag best phone plans in there too?
Let me finish. Hopefully you got the YouTube premium, so Sneed just gets an hour and 20 minutes of watch time.
That's right.
And you don't get the ads. By the way, that was best thing. I got the family plan, the YouTube premium.
Tremendous.
Yep. Hashtag best phone plans for people who actually use their site. I know I used them in my thesis. Damn good site. Yep. Bestphoneplans.net, not a sponsor. And we got Free the Bear for those who like that N77.
Hashtag help the bear.
No, Free the Bear.
Who's the bear?
I didn't know we caged the bear.
Wait, who is the bear?
Sneed.
Oh.
Bro, you don't know about that story?
No, please explain it real quick.
All right, bro. Look, listen. So there was a time where I was actually doing some martial arts training in Dagestan.
Hold up, Sneed.
Yeah.
Ian Tech says, "Nah, bro, I can sign up for DSL on AT&T right now. Put that on the bottom and then talk to your martial arts training."
Yeah. So the martial arts training when I was in Dagestan, we used to wrestle bears. And then so like somebody was walking by and they saw me wrestling the bear and they were like, they came to offer help and I was like, no, you need to help the bear. So that's where hashtag help the bear comes from.
Wait, Sneed, you've wrestled bears too?
That's what we do in Dagestan. That's how you train.
Guess Sneed and I are gonna have to wrestle.
Where? I'm sorry, I'm an American with terrible geography. Where is Dagestan?
It's in Russia.
Okay.
It's home of the Dag.
Yeah, so it's hashtag help the bear.
Oh man.
And then for Carlos,
the bear.
If Carlos is still here, it's hashtag BBW. Oh, this is terrible. Everything was great until like Pete finished, and then it just fell off the rails, dude.
I should take over hashtag zero trust.
Yeah, I think we got them all though.
If you appreciate my knowledge dumps, hashtag zero trust.
That's right, hashtag zero trust, man. All right, well, big shout out to Moose. Thanks for coming by and hanging out and doing a little bit of C-band testing. N77 for AT&T. Thanks, Moose. Big shout out to Pete, the Bearded Dragon. Appreciate it as always, man. Thank you so much. And then Dennis, thanks for coming on as well. Bestphoneplans.com. Check out the website and the podcast on YouTube. .net, excuse me. Bestphoneplans.net on the web, and also got the podcast on YouTube.
What's up, Pete?
Bestphoneplans.com is something different. They kind of suck.
All right, the goal was to get it to an hour. We failed. We're at an hour and 23 minutes.
Sorry.
But thank you all for watching. We appreciate it, and we will see you all on the next one.